Okay, I'm ready.
I'm ready too. Check it out. Episode 15, Cito, MellyQueen, Beyond the Views podcast, the number one podcast in the world. You know that. You know what it is? MellyQueen, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. So happy to have you on the show. Thank you so much. By the way, I love your sweater up, La Reina. All right, so check it out. MellyQueen is a Canadian artist from El Salvador descent. MellyQueen is combining the English and the Spanish lyrics, aims to inspire listeners to feel confident and sexy and elegant. And that's the vision for MellyQueen. MellyQueen, am I in the right path with what I just said?
Yeah, exactly. Right
also,
on.
People that don't know where MellyQueen got the name from, Melly, she loves the name Melissa. Queen comes from Queen Elizabeth.
Yeah. Spot on. Yeah. You know more about me than I know about myself.
You've done everything, really. Like, you host, you make music, gone on radio shows, you do your own interviews, modeling. I'm pretty sure you've done acting. Now, before we get into all that, okay? I'm huge and I'm fascinated on how artists and creators start their journey. So first and foremost, you are from El Salvador, so shout out to my Latinos and Latinas all around the world. You are not born in El Salvador, you were born here, but your parents were born back home.
Yeah.
And so where I want to get it started with this is this. You know, the fact that your parents are born back home, you know, they were raised different than the way that we're raised here.
Yeah.
And so my question to you is, how did your journey start with music? Because I just feel like Hispanic parents can sometimes not always be in the same level of having the same dreams of creating music. They, you know, they're really old school and they're the type to just say, get a 9 to 5. How did you break that barrier and how did that come about? When did you decide you want to get started with this?
Yeah. So my parents, we grew up very, very traditional in the sense like family was everything. We knew how to respect people. We knew how to, find a good job to, always present yourself in a way that would present the family well. That was something that was always ingrained in us because it was just like, we brought you to this country not to do anything against, the norm of like, becoming something great. Like that was always stuck into my head, like from being when I was little. So for me, that was to be a lawyer. So I was like, I want to go to law school. Like I want to become something. So I did go to university. I got my undergrad and I was on my way to applying for law school and all of that. And I've always had a connection with music and my mom put me in singing lessons when I was little. So that part of me was there. But because I was so fixated on the Canadian dream, like American dream per se, I was focused on my school. And then when I didn't get into law school, it was a sad moment. I definitely did feel emotions, which led me to maybe like to write out how I felt. And that was the time where I started getting into like journaling and all those things that seem so foreign to me. Mm-hmm. So I started to journal and then I began to start writing lyrics. And it wasn't until I wrote one song that I actually had a conversation with my now manager, who is also my brother-in-law. And I'm like, hey, let's go look about how we can kind of get this started. And he's like, okay, well, this is what we need. And I'm like, yeah, so I have a song and I'm the artist. Like, let's try to go about this. So that was the story. Right. But what I do know is in the Latin community, and I'm sure other communities as well, like, especially if you're brought to a different country from where your parents are brought up and it's a completely different upbringing. Yeah. Sometimes the only acceptable dream is something that's going to get you a good job, a good title, right? Yeah. Something that's going to get you a job, something that will put food on the table. That's the dream. So that's why, like, the Salvi supporting Salvis, it's so important to create that type of unity in the Salvadorian community and to have us all like to create an online community, right? Yeah. Like I share who I have reached out to, who have they reached out to, like we're combining and collabing and we're creating that online community, because sometimes it's not at home. Thankfully, my parents were cool with it. They were
Yeah.
like, okay, but every day it's still like, have you started that law school application? Despite all the exciting things, like, as you mentioned, the podcast, the music, all of that stuff. But it's like, did you do your LSAT? Did you do this? So creating that online community is really special to me. So that's with the Salvi supporting Salvies.
Awesome. And now, where are they at this point right now with your decision that you want to just do what you love, which is your music and all the creative, ventures that you're going off to right now? Are they accepting it, or are they still once in a while coming back to you being like, hey, like I want you to go to school or get your 9 to 5? Are they pushing you towards that? Are they now being a little bit more easy and being like, go ahead, go and have fun?
Yeah. That's a great question. So, in the beginning, when things were a little bit slow, and I guess the uncertainty of is this, because when I first launched the song, I didn't know how people were going to take it.
And
so
is this another Like Me?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay. And by the way, before we continue, is this about a guy or something that you're saying? You know what I mean? Like,
no, I don't know. I was just in my feelings. Like I just wanted to
express
say
yourself.
something. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that was your song. Which
yeah,
was a great
exactly.
song, by the way. I've been watching your tunes. Don't get it twisted. Woo!
Yeah, so like to your question, it's been a process, right? Like establishing myself as an artist was really important to me in my household before it was like really public, because you really need a good support system.
Yes.
Like this industry is very like I genuinely am a very, like, I consider myself to be very nice, very sweet, but sometimes you have to show a different side of yourself. And knowing that there are those type of challenges, it's always important to have a great support system. So I really had to establish that at home. Like I felt that it was a great part of me, and my family means a lot to me. And like if they were to say something, it could really affect me. So I really had to get them on board. So once my parents and my family started to see like vocal coaches, videos, lyrics, hours, connections, this, it was like, okay, she's very, like, she's determined. She wants to do this.
Now, do you have people in your family that also make music? Are you from a music background at all, or is it just you coming out of?
No, it's just me. Yeah, like we grew up listening to music, and it was always a big part of us. And like it was at all times, like you're going to bed at 11 o'clock and there's like music playing. Like, it's just like growing up in like a Latin household. It's always been a part of me, like, different types of music, different type of genre and all that stuff. So yeah.
Are you a diehard fan of anybody specific?
Honestly, I love a lot of artists. I guess the biggest one would be Selena, like the real Selena. Like she was like, I just loved her. Like I loved the way that she was with people, and she was this huge star, but like you met her and it didn't feel like that.
Right.
So that was a great inspiration for me.
Now it brings me to a point where I want to ask you this. So Another Like Me was one song that you wrote. You reached out to your manager. Now she's your brother-in-law. My question is, how did you get the confidence to say that, hey, I feel like this piece of art that I just wrote is worthy enough to go to the studio, pay studio time, record it, and put it out? That process alone takes a lot of courage and a lot of growth within yourself to actually move those steps. Not a lot of people would ever do those steps. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are really talented and they have what it takes, but they just wouldn't take that step. And you took it. So my question to you is, what was it? What was that feeling inside of you that said, I just want to give this a try? I'm not scared of people's opinion. I'm going to just do it. Even though it was your first song, other artists, they'll write a bunch of songs and, they'll wait years down the line. But it seems like you wrote one song and you said, hey, I'm going to go. I'm going to do this. So what was that spark? Like, give me that vision. Like, were you in your room? Were you in someone else's house?
It was a moment of like I started listening to music and like Latin music and R&B and like all the music, and I would like sing it. And I'm like, yo, this is so dope. Like, honestly, like it's just so amazing. Like I can just feel this. And then I thought to myself, like, you could do it too. And it was a back and forth with myself. But the problem, well, I don't know if it's a problem, but like if I have an idea that lingers in my mind for too long, until I address it, do something about it, it's either canceled or it's either I'm going to do it. That idea will constantly be there. So like when I started to listen to music, I started to listen to it differently. I was like, what would I say if I was on this? Like, what would I respond to this? So just like having that switch in my mind was enough to push it. And then going back to that like system and that support, like he didn't say like, no, like, are you sure you want to do this? He was like, dope, let's figure it out, let's see. He was like, hell yeah, let's do this. So that support is very important. So that's why I also find like online support is so important, because you need, at least if one person believes in you, it goes a long way.
Yeah, that encouragement. Now, what about when you were recording it and you heard your voice for the first time?
Mm-hmm.
How did that feel? Because
yeah,
MellyQueen, I've been in studios before where the artist recorded their first song, and it's an amazing song when they performed it in front of myself live.
Yeah.
Came to the microphone, the person became so discouraged, didn't like the voice. It really fucked a lot of the things up, lack of a better term. So when you first heard yourself, were you happy with the results? Were you happy with the engineer's work? How did you feel? How did you feel?
Honestly, it was tough, because I've never done it in a studio. Like I did a few like live shows, but it was never my favorite thing. Like I just couldn't get over hearing myself in a microphone. Like I'm like, I don't mind like singing, but it was just like, I honestly don't want to like sing in a microphone. It just makes me sound weird.
Right.
Yeah, so being in the studio and like you have the music in like your ears, and it's like, that's your moment. Like you got to deal with that. Like no one's going to come in and like, you know, it's just like, Jesus, take the wheel, help me. Because in that moment, like everyone's sitting there and they're like, you brought us here, do something.
You're paying for their time.
Yeah, exactly. So it like, to answer your question, it was terrifying. And I was just like, okay. I'm like, let me try to do this.
Yeah, for sure. Now, how come you didn't do a music video for this song, Another Like Me?
I had an idea to do the video and I wanted it to be exciting and I wanted to show myself, but I dropped it like February 28th of 2020. And shortly after, like March came and everything shut down. So yeah, like I started at the beginning of COVID. So no one knew, like when we were planning the release and all of that, like no one knew what was to come. So yeah, so it was, and I remember like the first months were like really scary. And it was also difficult to try to find and make arrangements or try to promote. I promoted the song, but like I felt like, you know, gathering people to do videos, like it was such a like looked down upon, right? And even now, like if you're in a group with people, it looks very, you know, like you don't really know what to do. So it was just, let's promote the song, like let's give people something to hear, but maybe they won't see me yet.
Right, but you made a lyrics video for it.
Yeah, lyric video, yeah.
Which is amazing, just still great. Videos are amazing.
There's a lot of Instagram captions, so I was like, they gotta make a lyric video.
Yeah. So you made the song. Now you're getting the feel of the music. You're getting the feel of the writing process, going to the studio, recording it, getting these feelings of the highs of, oh my God, I'm here, I'm doing it, I feel great. Getting the feelings of the low of, I don't know if that's how I want it to sound, right? So my question to you is how do you deal with those emotions that go up and down of artists that are going to be watching you that, you know, want to get started like yourself, but they get discouraged off something so small and they stop doing what they, you know, would want to do. They stop doing what they would love to do. Times where you're not feeling it. You don't feel like writing, or you just feel discouraged. I'm pretty sure we all go through it. It's normal. But is there anything that you do to overcome these feelings?
Yeah, so I definitely have found that if you try to write a song without like the purpose or like what you're trying to say, like maybe not like word for word, but like what vibe, like what am I feeling today, what
you want to bring across? Yeah
exactly. Like what do you like, where do you hear this song? Do you hear it in the club? Do you hear it driving home? Like what do you want? So finishing, like establishing that can really help you, because I've had like melodies and I'm like, oh, let me try to write something. But then it's not, it doesn't feel right because it's not what you want to say at the moment. And that's totally okay. And you can like archive that lyric, or you can archive that melody, but feeling like that's the whole writing process, right? Like you got to feel what you're writing. So I would say feel what you feel. Like it's an emotional roller coaster, definitely.
Of course.
Songwriting, it's hard, and you're the worst critic. Like sometimes it's okay to ask, like, what do you think of this? Or maybe just like what I do is like I slide something and I'm like, I saw this online, what do you think? And it's like, oh, it's pretty dope.
Yeah. You get a good reaction, you're like, yeah, okay, and you wrote
It's like, all right, I'm gonna go tweet this or something, I don't know, like,
awesome.
do what you gotta do, like whatever your comfort zone is, right? Like sometimes it's hard to just be out in the open and be like, be vulnerable. That's the biggest thing. Like it's hard, but just find different ways to do it. Like, I heard this saying, like, what do you think of it? Like, I don't know, just like all these, growing up with strict parents, you think of things to say.
Sure. And what does MellyQueen's process look like? When do you feel like you're at your peak when you're writing music, or when you just feel good when you write music? What does it look like? Are you in your bed? Do you write in the morning? Do you write at nighttime? Do you write on the weekends? Do you write after a party, before a party, when you're a little tipsy? Or when is it that you like to write? When is that process? Like what does it come down to?
So what usually happens to me is I find that if I'm like stuck sitting there and like writing something, it probably won't come out the greatest, but like
Wow.
it's annoying, but it's good at the same time. Like sometimes I'm like going to bed and I'm like ready to sleep and I think of something and I'm like, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so cool. It's okay, I'll remember in the morning. And I go to sleep and I kid you not, I won't remember till like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm like, oh, I should have woke up. I'm like, what matters more, sleep or like a song?
I hear you on that. Yeah.
So like, I hope they come back to me in dreams. Like I've had some pretty good ideas, like literally like half asleep with one eye open. And then I like open up my phone and I try to do the note, but it's like I can't even open my eyes. So like the words don't make sense. So it's just like I don't even know what I was trying to do here.
You just throw your phone and you go to bed.
Yeah, it's just like pretend that didn't happen. That just didn't happen.
For sure. Now you've been doing music for about a year and a half?
Yeah.
Okay. You've been doing music for about a year and a half. I want you to tell me what you love about it and what you dislike.
Yeah.
In this music industry.
I love it because there's a great community behind it, and there's a great feeling when you put all your hard work into something and people love it. Like even if it's just one person, like it feels great. Like it feels like all those struggles were worth it because at least one person is jamming out to it. And if like more people like it, like that's dope too, right? And I guess the hardest part is the criticism, like of your music, and also like putting you in a box of like you do this type of music and like people only want you to do that type of music. So I do think that's the hard part of the industry. And it's just hard. It's always like to stay like on top of everything and like manage everything. That's also a great thing that I've learned. But overall, I really like it, and I think it's definitely made me stronger as a person. It's made me more vocal about my opinion, because if I learned I guess I learned later than sooner in the year that half that I've been doing it, that you got to say what you want. Like nobody's gonna really talk for you. Like you gotta speak up for yourself. And you could have the best team, but it comes down to what you feel. So that's something that I've learned, and it's something that I'm going to continue to learn. But yeah.
Absolutely. Well said. It's really important to do what you are doing because you have a purpose behind what you're doing, and not allowing, the outside noise to interfere with what you want to do, what you're destined to do. Good for you. Now, I want to ask you, do you know this song?
I don't know. Sounds like she has my name.
By the way, I don't know if Dime and this song, I don't know. I think Goodbye is my fave.
Really? That's crazy.
What is your fave compared to these two that we're about to talk about next?
Depends on my mood.
Oh, does it really? I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Goodbye is based on some real life situations. I don't know. Woo! Which the music video is out now. Check it out, and we'll be right back. I try, but you're so behind. So now to make you mine, instead you're wasting my time. Sorry, gotta be the one to say goodbye. Sorry, I gotta be the one to say goodbye. Beyond the Views podcast, episode 15. We got MellyQueen in the building, Cito in the building. Okay, so now that we're gonna get into Goodbye, your song Goodbye, where did you write this song? I want to know exactly where you wrote it.
Yeah. Oh my God. So when I wrote this song, it was funny. It was like, oh my God, like what's going on? Like what's the drama? Like my sisters called me. They're like, what's going on? Like what's the drama? And I'm like, no, I was at a girls' night and one of my friends was going through something and we're like talking about it. And you know how those girl nights with wine and all of that goes. So everybody got into their feelings. Everybody was saying things. And then we're all like, what was a constant saying was like, yo, like, what does he want? Like, you're fired. Like, you got this, you got that, you got that. Like, you got, like, look at her DMs. Like, look at this. So it was just like, everybody was just going off. And then I was like, and then when I was writing it, I was in that headspace. I'm like, I don't get what you don't see. Everybody wants me. Like, at least that's what they tell me. So
Right.
that's what it felt. And I was like, I'm sure someone is going to relate to this.
Right.
Like
Right.
it's such a different way to take it. So it could be seen in so many different ways. I'm like, you never know. Like some people may think of it sexually. Some people may think emotionally.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a big statement that you can take it in any way that you really like fits you.
And where did you shoot the music video?
It was at Humber Bay Park. It was my first video. I was outside and
a lot of slow motion going on in the video.
Yeah, it was funny. Like people were watching me like, what are you doing? Like what's going on?
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Which is an amazing song, by the way. Really, really good song. You come with these different melodic melodies in your song, which is really cool. You don't flatline your songs. They have these like different pitches to different words, different like choruses, pre-choruses, and it works. It does really well. Is that something that you and your manager talk amongst yourselves, or is it something that you have as a talent yourself to let the engineer know when to raise your voice and lower your voice? Like who has to say in that? Is it yourself?
Yeah, so my manager is super involved. Like he's always at every recording studio that I go to. Like I usually demonstrate like what I'm thinking, and I also have a lot of options. Like if there's something that I feel is a little uneasy, like I have like, okay, if you don't think that works, like what about this?
Okay.
And the producer that I work with, Adam Podnak, he's amazing. Like he really takes your ideas and he makes them into what you want to do. Like like just that connection there and the chemistry, like it's a great team and it's always a great vibe and it's always like supportive and it's always, you know, let's try this. Like maybe that doesn't work, but let's try this. So it's great. Like it's been very crucial and very helpful to the process. So now when I write the music, like I kind of keep that in mind. I keep and it also goes to what I'm saying too. So that also contributes to it.
Yeah, it definitely makes a huge impact when you have a good environment and good source of people around you that
for sure.
That is pushing you and is making you feel like, hey, we're all on the same page. Let's make a hit record. Look, listen, it's not even a fact of always trying to make a hit record. It's like making a song that connects amongst you as a team and others that are going to listen to it is going to relate to it. And that's just the beauty of it. The beauty of it all is the process of what you're doing and enjoying it and having fun. Like that's just the number one thing that I always tell artists. Focus on that. Having fun with your team. Create something fun for yourself and your team that is going to listen to it when you guys are having a good time. And then others are just going to jump into it too and have a great time too. So
for sure.
I was just going to ask you who your producer is because the beats are incredible. They're fucking fire ass beats. So my question to you is, how do you pick your beats? Do you go through an MP3 file full of beats, or would your producer be like, "Hey, MellyQueen, check this out. I just made this beat. What do you think?" What's your
Yeah.
that?
So far we've like personalized the beats, and we've kind of decided like what's the vibe, what kind of energy do we want for this song.
Right.
So like with Goodbye, it was like because those 3 songs are part of my EP. So it was like Another Like Me was like, it's like sultry but like confident, and it's just mellow. Like I don't need to yell at you to tell you what I'm saying.
No,
Like you just
no.
like like, yeah, like I said it. And then Goodbye was, so Another Like Me, it's like a story about a girl who, Another Like Me, like she knows her worth. And then Goodbye is like she knows that worth, so she's like, I got to be the one to say goodbye.
Right.
And then for Dime, I was like, this girl's been through too much. Like let's put her out there. Let's get her out in the crowd.
Yeah. No, that's listen. I get where you're going with that, and you're taking it like you're making such a cinematic movie with your music, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Listen, MellyQueen, we see that. We see what you're doing. So that's really, really dope. Now, Dime, I pronounced it right?
Dime, yeah.
Okay. So Dime is your latest song, which has been doing amazing, by the way. Like you are gonna hit 100K streams. Take my word, in the next like 47 days. Like, I'm amazing at envisioning things. Like that's where that's going. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that come about?
Yeah. So Dime was, so again, it was to that story. It was a song that I thought about, and I was like, okay, this 3rd song, like we have to show like this girl's been through it. This girl's coming out hard. Like because that's the process, right? Like of discovering who you are. And it's also like there's a whole like irony behind it too, right? Like it's me discovering myself. Like that first song, and then the 3rd song, Dime, was like more of MellyQueen, more of establishing. And I guess the other last 2 songs are just going to be like a surprise for everyone, because it's a whole new environment, and it's driven by something bigger than me. So I'm really excited for those last 2 songs.
And we're all excited. And the music video is out now, so check it out, and we'll be right back. Beyond the Views. Let's go. Woo! Okay, now, someone that's on the come up right now, huge fan of MellyQueen, they want to hear an advice from you right now. They're watching. They don't know where to get started. They're a little bit afraid to break that shell and get out there and literally start their music career. What's that one piece of advice you would want to give that person listening to you right now, wanting to take your footsteps?
So I do believe we have one life to live. If the idea crosses your mind, it is something that maybe you could consider. If the reason being you may think that you're not good enough, that's never true. You always are. Everybody is a star in their own way, or whatever they decide to do. And no dream is too big enough. It all starts with believing that it can happen. And, everything, I personally put everything in God's hands, and that gives me the strength to continue when things get really hard. But just because it's hard doesn't matter. Like nothing worth having is easy. And if you put in the work, you put in the dedication, you put your passion, results will come. So no dream is too big. You are good enough, and believe that you can do it, and others will believe it too.
Well said. Well said. So if you are watching, get out there, do it, live your dream. Life is too short. Please get out of your shell and reach out to MellyQueen. Feel free to reach out to MellyQueen. MellyQueen, do me a favor. Can you let everyone know platforms and Instagram right now where they can reach you at?
So you guys can follow me on all social medias. You can find me under the username MellyQueen Music. And like you said, like you can always DM me. I'm always active on Instagram. It is one of my favorite platforms. So that's the best way to contact me. I do reply to DMs. I do reply to comments. And if you're Salvi, message me about Salvi supporting Salvis. So you can totally be on that.
Awesome.
And yeah, if you guys ever need any advice or anything, you know, I'm new at this, but I'm always willing to, learn, share what I've learned, because you can learn a lot if
Yeah.
you're really immersed in something in a short period of time. Like you
Right.
learn a lot.
Now the fact that you gave an advice to someone that's watching you right now, have you received an amazing advice from somebody, maybe in the music industry or even outside of the music industry, that you want to share with us, or even myself? I'm here listening.
My dad's always said, like, growing up, like anything that I was doing, I'm like, oh, it's so hard, I can't do it. He's like, well, nothing worth having is easy. So like if it matters, then you gotta like put in the work. Like it's not gonna be easy, but if it's worth having, like you'll do it.
Absolutely. And that being said, what is next for MellyQueen right now?
So I'm working on my EP. I recently launched my merch. This is La Reina that I'm wearing.
Talk to me about La Reina. Let's go.
So the MellyQueen launch, I have a few more styles coming out that everything is just being finalized. But the first drop was La Reina, and it's a statement. And to be MellyQueen and to have the name, like it was a process, right? Because you have to present yourself in a way, like a queen is always confident. A queen feels comfortable in her own skin. Like a queen will speak up for herself if she feels that, she'll speak up for others. Like it's just that welcoming, wholesome, full woman. And I believe that every woman has that in her, and this is the purpose of it, like to feel confident. And if someone asks you like what's La Reina, to be like the queen. Like
there you go.
What do you mean?
I was just gonna say, for the people that don't know, La Reina in Spanish means the queen in English.
So it's like I'm sharing that part of, the word, the queen means power to me. So if you can wear this and you can feel powerful, and that could be a gateway to more opportunities. Like, oh, why are you wearing that? Because I'm a queen and I think that I could do this. Like, it's a gateway, and it's a conversation starter. So and it starts the great conversations. It starts like, how are you wearing that? Like, why do you feel comfortable enough to wear that? And it can open a whole bunch of new conversations. So that's the intent behind La Reina.
And beyond it opening a bunch of conversations, a huge statement, La Reina, all these little girls that are on the rise up, wearing La Reina is a huge statement. It's feeling that you are the queen. You are the queen of the world. You are worthy of all. And and it's something that, I would definitely put my daughter on a nice La Reina, outfits, because it's that powerful. So amazing job on that. Because what I love about that too is like, it's so empowering for women, empowering. You know what I mean? So I love it. I'm definitely gonna grab different colors once we're done. Which, by the way, you want to let us know where the website is? We can put it somewhere down here, somewhere like down there.
Yeah, so I'm currently so we just recently launched it. So I am on Instagram. I do plan on opening a page for the merch as well. But right now it's on MellyQueen Music. You can send a DM or you can comment on the photo and we can send you a message.
Awesome. Just like right over there, guys. Just like follow it. Follow her page.
Also, like La Reina, like, if you're wearing this and, you're having a bad day, like, you just got to remember, like, you got to always keep your head up. And, queens have the best poker face. You never know what Queen Elizabeth's thinking.
That is so true. So
she's happy, she's sad, you don't know.
Everyone watching, remember what MellyQueen said. It's all about empowering the world. So, MellyQueen, really quickly, can you let us know your YouTube page? Because that's where we can subscribe to your channel. And that's where you have all your videos, music videos, where we can all check out. So let us know what your YouTube is now, please.
You guys can check out all my music, all of my music videos on YouTube, MellyQueen Music. And you can also find me on Spotify, MellyQueen. No space, just MellyQueen. I think it was great.
Is there something that I missed?
Honestly, no. Like this was an amazing interview. It's like one of the greatest interviews I've had.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I wanted to make sure that I didn't, miss anything, but at the same time, make it short and sweet. Cito, MellyQueen, episode 15, Beyond the Views podcast, the #1 podcast in the world. You know that. MellyQueen, there's going to be a glass breaking. You want to hear it?
Okay.
Watch, it's about to happen right now.